Hello, this is Richard Pears from Finextra TV, and welcome this morning to Beth Burks from S&P. How are you today?
Yeah, doing very well. Looking forward to the Christmas break. How are
Absolutely, yeah.
you?
Sort of getting to feel a bit like Christmas. We were putting the tree up yesterday. We ordered one from a charity. We usually pick it up, personally, but it delivered. It's about half the size. We got our measurements all wrong, so it's all built up on boxes, and it's going to fall down on Christmas Day, I'm sure. Anyway, we're not here to talk about my Christmas. We're here to talk about Sustainable Finance.Live, which was last week, and you were an amazing contributor leading up to the event, helping us shape it, and obviously during the whole piece. But give us a sense, this was your first time. What were you hoping and expecting from the whole thing?
Yeah, sure. So, for me, sustainability and sustainable finance is really all about behavioral challenges. And so, what I mean by that is that really our economy and our financial decisions can cause problems, but they can also create solutions. And it's really only by coming together to work on those solutions that we can really move things forward in a positive direction. So, that's really what these sessions do. And I was very, very excited to be part of them. It was a hugely rewarding to contribute to them and to tell people about what S&P ratings are doing, and also to learn from others about what they're doing in sustainable finance, because it's really quite a broad space.
Yeah, and I guess that leads me on to my next question, which is, obviously you're an expert on this area. We all hate that tag, but you know what I mean. You know a lot about it. But you're with a whole bunch of people, very diverse people. I mean, what's the advantage of that, if any?
I think there's just so much innovation that's really happening in sustainable finance, and it's really important to sort of keep up with that. So obviously the challenges are huge, the urgency is huge, but it's only really sort of sharing ideas and discussing what others are working on that we can sort of help to keep a pace with everything that's going on in sustainable finance and maintain that expert label, I suppose. So, for example, in our session, we explored alternative data, but also alternative instruments. So use of proceeds bonds, so green bonds, sustainability bonds, but also sustainability linked instruments, where they're tying interest rates to social and green targets. So there's a huge amount of innovation that's happening, and really, I think, working with a diverse group of collaborators, that's where innovation happens, I suppose. So, yeah.
I hope so, and I think I'd also having a bit of a community group like that helps keep the spirits up, doesn't it? Because it's a tough old subject if we're brutal about it. But tell me, coming into the event, you touched on I think a few things there, but what were the kind of three things that you were hoping to leave, the collaborators and audience with, and what did you take away that was kind of net new?
Yeah, sure. So I guess firstly, spatial finance is useful. So at S&P Ratings this year, we've been doing a lot on spatial finance and developing ways to use spatial data, climate data in our analyses and seeing how useful it is when looking at credit risk. So one of sort of the key recommendations of the TCFD was to ask financial analysts to use spatial information and looking beyond, just the use of it in the insurance sector, but generally more broadly to different types of analyses. So this year we've analysed everything from local governments to airports. We've worked on water utilities and UK mortgages. So we've really shown that it can be applied in a broad sort of set of credits. So it hasn't been easy, I have to say, and I hope what people take away from that point is that financial analysts can use climate risk indices, but they increasingly need to go a bit further than some of those initial indices that are being produced around climate risk. So secondly, I think there's still a lot of opportunities to solve the sort of forward-looking risk challenges that we discussed in the sessions. So perhaps looking for where climate is supportive of stronger credit quality could help with that. So I hope that's a takeaway that people get from what I tried to contribute. And thirdly, I hope the audience really feels inspired to solve not only just the low-hanging fruit, but some of the more complex challenges that we have around sort of, aggregating asset risk to a multinational bond issuer. So how do we scale up from the micro to the macro, and then I guess also the supply chain problem that we touched upon in a few of the sessions over the week last week. Yeah.
It was, we did cover a lot, didn't we?
Yeah, we did cover a lot. So maybe I could take what I took away from it, because I think that's what I was trying to contribute. But what I took away was there's a variety of solutions available there that vary by level of sophistication. So there was already a choice for analysts such as myself, and that's really important for me. So I'm planning to follow up on that one.
Yeah.
And I also kind of took away that people are still trying to define sustainability, and there isn't such a clear understanding of all the various financial instruments out there in the sustainable finance space, which isn't really that surprising, because I guess a lot have cropped up. So, but I really hope that we can raise awareness of these, going forward.
Yeah. I think that's right, but never. It's the financial services industry is complicated at the best of times, isn't it? With stuff that's been around for years. So I think what we need to do is get the base level up, and then obviously we can start to sort of see the real ones that are delivering massive outcomes, which is, I guess, ultimately what we're looking for, rather than just tons of instruments, real outcomes. But when we look back at the event, I think we still have a lot to do. But what do you think we achieved, and what should we do next?
Well, I think the visual records are great, because that sort of maps out the problems, but also all the sort of various solutions, and it kind of helps demystify some of the technical jargon that we have by grouping it together. So I look forward to seeing those visual records and the reports from last week's sessions. And I think what we need to kind of keep doing to go forward is to stay in touch and continue to build this community and demystify sustainable finance, and really by including both large financial institutions or financial services companies such as S&P, but also some of the small players that are doing some more maybe potentially innovative things. That would be great, and really just keep talking, keep solving, so that we can
Keep experimenting, haven't we? Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's that classic, it's that sort of fintech vibe, where lots of experimentation, accelerators, investment, and then a few breakouts which really transform the landscape. That's what we're hoping for, I think. Yeah. Fantastic, Beth. Well, look, what a great summary, and lovely to see you again. And I'm delighted. I'm sort of taking that as a tacit agreement. You're going to be working with us next year on this. So for now, thank you so much, and have a great Christmas.
Thank you. Thanks, Richard.